Okay. In the bottom right of the map, we have our pink Protoss player. It is none other than Oxygen.
And in the center left is our green Zerg player from Team Swanky with a very dapper roses and hats. This Samsara, aka Caesura.
Ooh, I like that. That's pretty good.
It's very
It's good.
swanky.
It's a good logo.
It's a very swanky.
Apparently, Case is out to kill the deserter, also known as Oxy. Which, to be fair, apparently he joined the clan for a streamer, I believe.
Hmm.
But I'm trying. I actually haven't heard the name before. The name of the clan was just Pilly Pilly, but yeah, well, check out that person later. So, what do you think with this matchup?
DVP. Oh, it's tough to beat Protoss. Either forge fast, expand, and get trapped, or you cheese them. I can't stand mid to late game with Zerg. I just figure let's kill him quick, get it over with, get out of the match, move on to the next one.
I feel like though, no matter what though, you do want to have some aggression against them because I feel like you just don't have any information to work with during the mid game.
Right.
And it's one of many styles you can play. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of Protoss players that have made success out of simply never leaving their base.
Yeah, I wish I was one of those.
That's actually a very stressful style of play. I'm not really a big fan of it, but it works. Definitely not deny that.
It's like plugging holes in the Hoover Dam. It gets very difficult after a while, especially when things are shooting nuclear bombs at it.
True enough. But thankfully, we don't have Terran in this map, so rather than nuclear bombs, we just have excessive amounts of plasma and lightning.
Lightning. Little expo coming out from Mr. Samsara. Going hatch first, and then pool.
This is actually a pretty good choice of a build, honestly, on any map where scouting your opponent isn't always a sure thing.
Yep.
A lot of people will just prefer to keep their scouts at home. Probe in particular, I mean, not probes, but with probes in particular, that means you don't have as much of the threat of a cannon rush coming your way, especially if you get your Overlord there in time to see that he's, well, doing essentially the same thing. With Protoss, in Protoss terms, which is Fast Nexus.
Fast Nexus. So we get a little expansion coming out for Oxygen as well. Putting out that first Zealot. And a Forge. So, it does appear Forge fast, expand. With the wall closed off, no surprise Zerglings. But there wouldn't be any anyway. Since Mr. Samsara is also expanded.
So the other thing that this map is known for, like the real big thing that drives people kind of crazy on it, is if you take a look at the main, it's gigantic. You really have to make an effort, regardless of what race you're using, to actually make sure you have vision all the way around it. And even if you do, since it's so large, drops get a little bit more time to actually occur. So this is a map where aggressive drop play is very strong, especially if you're Terran, also if you're Protoss. And very rarely if you're Zerg. Very rarely.
Very rarely.
It's not really a common tactic these days.
It's like 2 though. Case is dropping a 3rd.
So this is actually pretty typical timing for a more slightly greedy end of the standard plays. So nothing particularly unusual coming out of Case. I pretty much expect with this setup that he'll probably go from here into a either Roach Hydra style push for the mid game or something insane. Pretty much it's usually one or the other these days. Some people will go Mutus, it does happen. But it's not the hardest thing to deal with if you grab them this late. Still no gases either, so not really getting that sense.
Nope, he did push out enough for Zergling speed, so looks like he's looking to get some map control. We're going to see a lot of Zerglings this game, though. If that's the case. Hopefully, I don't know. Do you think maybe it's a push into Banelings? But there's no gas.
If it is, it's going to be a little bit of a later mid-game thing, which you can still do. Like, it's one of those things... there's the Roach Horn, by the way. But it's one of those things that actually can work against a Protoss if you manage to successfully convince him enough that you aren't going to do it, and then keep him locked in his base so he doesn't have any eyes on the map. You can just surprise him out of nowhere with it. That said, it is a little bit riskier, I think, than the alternatives.
Surprise banelings.
Roach Hydra's good. All you need to do is just keep him from getting a third, and you'll be fine.
Surprise banelings are the worst kind. Especially when they come out of overlords. It makes it a little more difficult.
That's crazy, but even when I'm facing that tactic, I still find it kind of fun to see because it just nobody does it anymore. Like, I have a feeling that when I finally do get around to learning Zerg, I'm going to teach myself that build just because it's entertaining.
Very good, sir. You just carpet bombed me. Major props. Major props. I'm leaving now.
Yeah, essentially.
So Oxy, just now getting the scout out, sending the observer slowly across the map, but he will eventually find his opponent. Meanwhile, getting immortals on the back of this. A blind counter there to the roaches that are...
This is something you can. It's just getting one or two immortals just kind of fits into this build really well. If you are going up into Colossus deck, as we can see that he is, you have a little bit of time before you can actually get the Colossus out while you're waiting for the Bay. And sometimes people will go for a couple extra observers in that space of time, and a lot of times too they'll just grab an immortal just to have it there. If there is a roach rush, not a roach rush, but like a delayed roach attack, I guess is what you would call it in this case. It can be a pretty handy thing to have. And in general, they're not bad to have one or two of them. Can't really rely on them though, because as been stated in the past, immortals don't really they don't cause your opponents to really do anything different than what he was going to do already.
They don't seem to scale too well later into the game either. I mean, if you have 3 immortals, I mean, you can still be outpowered by roaches easily. They do a lot of damage, that's for sure, but it shouldn't be the be-all end-all of the build.
No.
There's always something to augment them. Immortal Sentry. I love Immortal Sentry. So, yep. Continuing the macro here. No real engagements to speak of. I think Oxy still has that Observer. Yes, it's down to about 6 HP.
Yeah, still hanging out at the front. Oh, hello there, Ender. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in forever.
What's going on, Ender?
Oh, no, what? Okay. This probe had its life spared because all of the links were called back home for some reason.
F2, it's a killer or a saver.
Wait, no, they're being sent back out. I have a feeling that was a little bit of a little bit of an error from Case. Meanwhile, this probe is just like, I guess I'm gonna stay here until I get found again because I didn't deserve to live. It's a very tragic, depressed probe. Oh, is the commander gonna save it? Nope.
What's the point?
Aww.
Marvin the probe.
I don't understand why I'm even here.
And then a zealot shows up.
Imbeciles. Anyway, so at this point, we're at the kind of tail end of when Oxy actually wants a third. If he's going for the longer late game stuff, he's going to need to grab that now. Otherwise, he's going to need to mount an attack soon because he's going to get out macroed real hard by the Zerg if this continues much longer. He does have a pretty scary looking Force Stone. He's actually almost about to climb up to 3 Colossus with range.
Yep. Fortunately, we have 23 roaches on the field, so it's going to need, I don't know, these 3 Colossus probably should take care of that pretty easily.
They actually are. Enough of them, they're pretty effective against roaches, even though they don't necessarily get the same kind of bonus damage that they would against, say, Lings or Hydras. But this is not an army that Case would be able to look at and say, you know, I can run that down easily. Now, he has to get a little bit lucky in his positioning. He has to catch the Colossus out of position at the front if he can. If he can't, then 2 Immortals plus the Zealots to hold everything back, it's going to be pretty rough.
Might see an engagement here in a short too. Colossus are moving up to the front. They will warp into the forward pylon. Roaches are at the top of the ramp, but the Colossus gets the vision on the high ground.
And yeah, 4 Colossus with this, not to mention the 2 Immortals, and it's too dangerous to engage into that. He's trying to spread though and go for it. Colossus gets moved back. Link's coming from the rear. This is actually a very nice flanking maneuver that we're seeing here, but as you can see, it's just a little bit, not really enough.
Colossus down.
Nice maneuvering to the back, does kill this base, or at least the attempt at grabbing a base, and it looks like the push is going to continue from here. Obligatory changelings. Please pay attention to them. Nope, going to ignore them. Always a little frustrating for the changelings, unless they're trying to be spies, which is not really in this case.
Very scary push here from Oxy. 3 Colossus.
This is absolutely brutal. He's sitting on top of the resupply point now.
Yep, gonna drop the macro hash here in a short and move in on the drones. Everything is going to roast. Roast, roast.
Oof. Drone's actually packing up nice and tight for the laser beams as well. It's pretty rough to watch.
Yep, lost 19 drones there, and there's the GG. I'm sorry to hear that, Man Bun. I'm not sure what